Okay. Welcome all to our Interfaith Prayer and Discussion meeting number 153. The purpose of this forum is to foster the devotional character of our society and to bring an understanding among various religious followers, the common foundation of all religions and the one source of those religions, thereby removing the prejudices, mainly the religious prejudice, that is one of the biggest stumbling block for attaining world peace. So special welcome to Dennis, who has come to this meeting for the first time. And you all know Tracy is one of our pillars for this forum, and she will be giving a talk later. So now I welcome Dennis to honor the indigenous people and the land. Thank you, Dennis.
Knowing that they are the traditional owners of the country, I would like to share this experience because I felt the presence of God and the presence of them at this time. And it was a day I had walked over the water on the edge of the shoreline to the stretch of wet sand. I loved being there, just walking on this part of the shoreline, wet sand, uncovered, as the waters came in around it. Backwards and forwards, walking with the waters around me. And from there, seeing the broad span of the horizon, stretching right across the place where I stood. A glance back, and some of the wet sand was now covered. It had happened quietly, in a flick, the water coming from all directions. And when I say this, I don't like to think of north, south, east, west. I am looking for another way to speak about the movement of the water covering a portion where I was. It comes from another place. It's the movement of the Spirit. It's of God. It touches me deeply. There's a sense of timelessness in it, of eternity, a sense of presence. And towards evening, that evening, I met a friend in the city, and we heard Megan Davis and Pat Anderson. It was a relatively small gathering in a big auditorium. As they spoke, I took them to the shoreline with the soft sand, wet and beautiful. It came from all directions, not quite circular. As they were speaking, I held them both in that place. That was the way I held them in God, prayed for them, and I felt a depth of love for them.
Thank you. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you for sharing your deep experience, Denise.
Yes, thank you. That was something special. Now we will go to our devotional part.
Oh, precious on earth, withdraw your hands from tyranny, for I have pledged myself not to forgive any man's injustice. This is my covenant, which I have irrevocably decreed in the preserved tablet, and sealed it with my seal of glory. This is my covenant, which I have irrevocably decreed in the preserved tablet, and sealed it with my seal of glory, of glory, of glory, of glory, of glory. This is my covenant.
O my friend, listen with heart and soul to the songs of the Spirit, and treasure them as thine own eyes. For the heavenly wisdoms, like the clouds of spring, will not rain down on the earth of men's hearts forever. And though the grace of the all-bounteous one is never stilled and never ceasing, yet to each time and era a portion is allotted, and a bounty set apart, this in a given measure. Baha'u'llah.
Listen, I tell thee for thy comfort this. Give me thy heart. Adore me, serve me, cling in faith and love and reverence to me. So shalt thou come to me. I promise true, for thou art sweet to me. Hindu scripture, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18.
Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance. For understanding proverbs and parables, the saying and riddles of the wise.
Application and initiative nourish wealth. Adornment and decoration nourish beauty. Suitable activity nourishes health. Good friendship nourishes ethical conduct. Sense restraint nourishes the spiritual life. Honesty nourishes friends. Reciting nourishes learning. Eagerness to listen and ask questions nourishes wisdom. Commitment and reviewing nourish good qualities. Right practice nourishes heaven. These 10 things nourish the 10 likable, desirable, and agreeable things that are rare in the world. Buddhist scripture.
My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Christian scriptures, James.
When they listen to what has been revealed to the messenger, you see their eyes overflowing with tears for recognizing the truth. They say, "O Lord, our Lord, we believe, so count us among the witnesses." Islamic scripture, Quran 583.
Dennis.
Hearken thou unto my call from the horizon of my prison. Indeed, I cannot see some of the edge of the print on the right-hand side zipper.
Oh, you can see it.
I can see it, but there's, I'm sorry, but on my screen.
Okay. Okay, I will read it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sipan.
Hearken thou unto my call from the horizon of my prison, in the midst of mine adversaries. Verily, there is none other God but him, the ever-forgiving, the most bountiful. He hath truly hearkened unto the divine verses, who ariseth to perform that which befitteth him. Many are the souls who have listened, but are not accounted by the Almighty as having heard. True listening consisteth in man's first perceiving with the ear of his spirit the call of the All-Merciful, and then remaining so steadfast in observing the divine precept and command that were he to witness from the peoples of the world naught save denial, enmity, and rejection, he would in no wise be deflected from walking in the straight path of God. Well is it with them that attain. Baha'i Scriptures, Baha'u'llah.
Come down and walk these roads around the city of Tehran, where 7 candles burn. of charity down to the crimson sea. 100,000 veils have covered the sun, and darkest clouds have blocked and blackened the blue sky. Did you hear the fate of those who educate, who even in the grave find no respite from hate? Have you seen the youth who gave their lives for truth? That girl who kissed the noose and welcomed all abuse. 100,000 suns have fallen to earth, with blasts that block the ears from hearing the new song. 100,000 veils have covered the truth. How many mothers' cries are lost in the tumult? No holy book to cite to make these wrongs seem right. Does it so offend to want this world to mend, to walk in hope to the end, and see each man a friend? Come down and walk these roads around the cities of Iran, which boast so much to man. Siba, you are somehow muted.
Anyway, something's wrong with your sound, Siva, but I can just start giving the talk if you like. You don't need to introduce me. We can't hear you, but anyway, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, well, now we can hear you.
Okay.
All right.
I think the internet here is not stable. Probably that's the reason. Anyhow, there may be some divine purpose for it, I don't know. Nevertheless, we will continue with our program without further delay. When the internet is working, I better welcome Tracy. You all know that she was part of this group from the very beginning and has given presentation on various topics. She's an author and a social activist and active member of the Women's Reconciliation Network. And she's going to talk on the topic of Ho'oponopono, Hawaiian traditional reconciliation process to bring about changes. So I welcome Tracy.
Thank you. Okay. You can see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Anyway, so I'm talking about Ho'oponopono, and it's really a very simple process, but very powerful, because it helps us to Ho'oponopono literally means to make right or to make good. Our natural God-given state should be one of love and gratitude. That should be our sort of our base point, that we respond to God's love and we're grateful for God's love, and we pass on that love and gratitude to the rest of creation, which includes people and the rest of the natural world. As we're all, part of a big ecosystem, all interconnected. No one was created from somewhere else out of where everyone else was. We all have a common origin, and really our base sort of approach to life and feeling about life and towards each other and the divine should be one of love and gratitude. So, but when our feelings have been disturbed for whatever reason, we can use the Ho'oponopono process to make things right, to make good. And it's really focusing in on the process. And these 4 phrases: I love you, I am sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I am sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And we actually keep reciting those phrases. You can recite it to music. You can go onto YouTube and you can find music which has those 4 phrases to music, and you can play that, which helps you to sort of keep a rhythm. So it was traditionally used as a family healing practice. It's just individuals and families to forgive past wrongs and conflicts and misunderstandings and things like that. Because when we don't, and it's a process to be able to take responsibility. Everyone to take their part, to own their part in the whole. Now, it's like with marriage. If you think marriage is 50-50, you won't last long in your marriage. Marriage is 100%, 100%. The same when we take responsibility, we should just claim, take our responsibility, not thinking about how other people are responsible, but actually taking responsibility ourselves for whatever we're experiencing emotionally or physically or around us. Because when we accept responsibility, we actually gain confidence and spiritual liberation, because we're not feeling helpless. We have something that we can do, even when everything else around us seems like it's out of our control. But if we use this process and we say these phrases, instead of analyzing what's going on or analyzing how we feel or how somebody else is feeling, it actually helps to clear the energy. Because like Einstein said, everything is energy, and we're all interconnected by that energy. And this takes us, these 4 phrases take us down to the point where we can actually change things. The method has been made famous by a doctor, a psychologist, psychotherapist called Dr. Hugh Len in Hawaii. Now, there was a very notorious mental institution in Hawaii, which actually housed very serious criminals. And for many years, no one was coming out from this facility, and there was an incredible high staff turnover. And the whole atmosphere was one of dread and horror for the people who lived there and for the people who had to go there and work. So some of the worst criminals who had serious crimes or serious mental health issues were in this hospital, in this facility. But it was, instead of people getting better, they were actually getting worse. And people had been trying different methods to help people, or even just to stop the staff turnover, but nothing worked. And then someone persuaded, actually begged Dr. Hugh Len to come and work there. But he had a completely different approach from everybody else. He never saw the patients. What he would do is each day he would go into the facility and he would look at the people's charts. And as he would read, the information about the patient, he would start getting all sorts of feelings coming up within himself. He might feel upset or angry or frustrated, enraged, depending on what he was reading. And it could be for lots of reasons that he was feeling those feelings. But he didn't try to, so he was working on an energetic level, but he didn't work on the energy of the patient. He worked on clearing and cleaning up his own feelings. And using those 4 phrases. So he would, instead of responding to his anger or to his feelings, he would So I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Until he could clear the feelings, so he was back to feeling calm and peaceful again. And he would do that each day. And what started happening was that the atmosphere in the hospital started changing, and the staff turnover became less swift. So people stayed working there longer, and the staff started feeling better, and the patients started feeling better. And even, it took a few months. We're talking about previously, there'd been many years that no change had taken place, at this place. So after a number of months, people recovered their true self, and the patients and the staff started doing it themselves too, but they started taking responsibility for their lives and graduated out of that facility. And eventually they shut it down because it was no longer needed. But it was only by him doing that process. So it leads to a resolution of irresponsibility, blame and anger, revenge, hate, complaint, or fear. When we look into Genesis in the Bible, when Adam first met his wife Eve, he was very grateful for her. But after they had the encounter with the serpent and everything, he started complaining about Eve. He started blaming Eve. He didn't take responsibility for what happened or how he felt. He actually blamed Eve and got angry. And he said to God, that woman that you gave me. So he blamed God as well as Eve instead of taking responsibility. So humankind has an inheritance and a history of being irresponsible, of not claiming our rightful heritage, which is one of love and gratitude. But the 4 phrases, I love you, I am sorry, please forgive me, thank you. If you don't analyze it, but you just experiment with it, give it a try, that when you feel upset some time, either at someone else or at yourself, for whatever reason, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And saying it with, sincerity and a tenderness. I've had, when we had the clinic in Sydney for 1 year, for 1 hour every week, we held a public meditation, spending the time just singing or saying these phrases together. And it was very powerful. People really had big breakthroughs and had many profound experiences of feeling loved. And I've also had patients who've had like a chronic illness for over 20 years. And it was like they were so angry at a part of their body that wasn't working, that when I encouraged them, think of that part of your body and say these phrases, then actually incredible healings could take place for people just by really using these phrases directed to that part of their body. So it sounds very simple, but it's very powerful. And for many people, it was the part of please forgive me, which seemed to be the hardest for people to just go with it. But, you know, in the Lord's Prayer, we asked to pray, please forgive me as I forgive others. Forgiveness for others and forgiveness for ourselves is interconnected, and seeking forgiveness is a powerful way to actually liberate ourselves. So it's sort of many people find it hard to say, please forgive me. But that takes us down into the place where we can really have gratitude and love come up. So if you can just try it in good faith, you would find that actually it's very, very powerful. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. So that we can have time to
Talk about it.
yes.
Thank you, Tracy. I remember you mentioned about this, I don't know where, in our meeting or some other meeting, but I didn't know the details of it, but it is fascinating how the doctor, Hugh, then revived it and demonstrated it.
Yes, well, that's why people started using it around the world, because of that example. Also, the lady that he learned from, she went to Poland and helped to a monastery that people had gone there with aching hearts and pain, and helped to clear away all the feelings in that. And very soon after, the Berlin Wall came down. Remember how Poland was the one that led the way for the collapse of the Berlin Wall and the Soviet Union. But it was also, this is an internal process that brings about external change, because there's many things that we can't control, but we can control our response, and we can control just doing this process. So please experiment with it. So Colin's got his hand up.
Yes, Colin.
Thank you, Tracy. Yeah, I like it. It's very simple, and it seems to capture what we hear about solving interpersonal problems and possibly even wars. And I can get the steps 1, 2, and 4. The third one, please forgive me, is that part of a dialogue with the person who's hurt you, and you have to wait for them to accept what your request, and then you say thank you? Is that how it works?
In a family dialogue, interpersonal, you may, but you don't. You would use the 4 phrases, clearing your feelings before you actually spoke, because that helps to clear the way, that they're more likely to receive your love and your I'm sorry and forgiveness, because you're taking responsibility first. But even if they don't respond, you can say thank you in your mind to complete it. Because it's not a matter, it's not waiting for the other. It's us going through the process, because it may take a while for the other person to respond. And you might need to go on, sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can see that. They if they're angry, they might not want to. It reminds me of a movie, a Disney movie called Beauty and the Beast, and there's a song where after all their Beauty and the Beast have been enemies, and then someone bends unexpectedly. I think that's the word used. Is that just someone actually asks for forgiveness, and then it makes all the difference.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yes. Is that Marina has raised her hand and then Vasanta, but I just want to ask, this is, so the doctor, when he was treating the patients at the mental hospital, so he did this on his own. I mean, he cleansed
Yes.
himself. So he didn't actually have the conversation with anyone, but he himself did it, and that had effect on the patients. Okay, Marina?
Okay. Thanks, Tracy. It's a really good thing to listen to. I just want to know, so basically we're saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And it's sort of following Colin's question, or, how do we know even after 1 or 2 weeks, we try to ring and they still don't want to make up and talk? Is that accepted as a sorry? Or do we start again and say, I'm sorry for what happened, we should not have done that way, or we should not have gone that path, blah, blah, blah.
So if someone is not responding, then you deal with your feeling. You might be feeling frustrated. You might be feeling disappointed. You might be feeling rejected. So you do that process by yourself until you don't need them to accept your apology. You know what I mean? You're at the point of zero.
Help ourselves.
Yes. Because if we're looking to the other, what their response is, we haven't gone down to this, cleared all our feelings to be just, I'm grateful for that I'm alive. Like sometimes you think of that, if when you think of that person, any feeling comes up, then you just do the process to you becoming back down to a sense of peace, a sense of love and gratitude, and wait patiently.
Which is the hardest, yeah.
Which is the hardest. But then acknowledging, and then that's another layer. It's just acknowledging it's hard to be patient. So that's disturbing my love and gratitude feeling.
Yeah, basically, yeah, sorry. I was thinking the Lord's Prayer, forgive our sins as we forgive them. So we forgive them, but they don't forgive us.
Yeah. So then it's sort of that's out of our control. What they do, that's out of our control. And, the more we look to what their response is, the more chained we are to them. But if we just sort of deal with ourselves and our own feelings, then we become free. And then that's when miracles happen.
Yep. And it's helping us mostly.
Yes.
But even if
it's helping us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's like the more that we clean ourselves, because this is, and Tracy mentioned that we are all interconnected, there's all energy. So the more that we clean ourselves, the more the effect on the other people. And the transformation may be slower, gradual from in the other person. It doesn't matter. What we have to do is cleaning ourselves so that we become the strong magnet that attracts the others. Okay. Vasanta.
Thank you, Tracy. One of our friend he is into this energy healing. He mentioned it to me some time back. But I don't know at that time what time understanding is you don't think of anybody or anything. You just repeat these verses and it will have that effect. Not that somebody must have hurt your feeling or something, but just to repeat these words. Or even we can ask God for the mistakes we have done. Or that is what my understanding was. I watched on some YouTubes as well. But I don't know. Is it that we have somebody in particular in mind, or it's
No. Just what you said, and we can. There's there's thousands of ways that we can use this process. But the main thing is to not be analyzing everything, like especially Western people. They analyze the problem, but they're not actually dealing with it. They've got these, all these things, arguments about it, and explanations about why the world is the way that the world is, and explanations about why they are and their priorities and what they have to do. But actually, they're not living in the spirit of love and gratitude, which is our birthright. So it's getting to that space of my natural state that I return to is love and gratitude. And sort of to make these phrases like a reflex to, because sometimes, you can pray, but sometimes it's just good to do the 4 phrases and just be, thinking of like God, that I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me that I'm not in more harmony, and thank you, you keep loving me anyway, and I love you back, and you go through it again and again and again, and if you've got waiting at the doctor's surgery, rather than reading trashy magazines, or even if you're doing something else, just to have those things. And then we're taking responsibility for the world. There are so many things in this world that are not the way they should be. There's so much misunderstanding, so much of those things that I said, it is the way to bring the resolution. But we have a secret weapon.
Thank you, Tracy, because after he mentioned in one of his presentation, I watched some of the YouTube as well. There are a lot of YouTubes on this. So, but I didn't understand clearly, because it's not that we have to think of somebody who has done something wrong to us, but we just repeat those things for our own healing. That's what I understood. Is that
yes? Believing our own healing is important, because there's no extra energy, water or air coming. Who knows where your air is going to go that you're breathing out? Putin might breathe in the air that you've breathed out.
Thank you, Tracy. Sorry for the background music. Somebody has given me this and gone out. The parents is in the court talking.
Okay, Colin. Sorry, Yung. You want to unmute?
Welcome, Yung. I didn't see you coming up.
Thank you, Tracy and Siva. That's the way that I was listening to the conversation and dialogue. I just had the ideas that if somebody here was like A and B together, and if I got a strong energy, positive energy, whatever he does or she does, well, that energy, the strong energy and positive energy and happy energy will be automatically transferred to B, who is very sad, who is very permissive, who is sick, who is mental. Is that how energy work? Like the interaction between good energy and bad energy, and if the good energy is so good that it's overrided the bad energy. Just like if I enter into a group of very sad people, and they said, oh, no future here, no food, no water, nothing. And then I sit down and I said, oh, don't be sad. And I start telling, I don't need to say that I'm sorry and forgive me and all that, because I haven't done anything with them. And I don't even know that what I'm forgive myself for. So I will say, oh, don't be sad. You'll be okay. God look after you. There will be a future tomorrow. You never know, because like in Lourdes and Fatima, the water that spring out from the soil, because Virgin Mary make a miracle. So even some people, when they say they're sorry and forgive them, and then you ask them again and they said, oh, I'm just saying that, but I don't know what I'm forgive myself for. And I don't know what I've done, because they got no idea what they've done. You know?
Yeah, well, it's not, whether you want to try it or not. I mean, look, energy works in lots of ways. And the main important thing is of love and gratitude. And if if you go into a room with people who are not feeling that great, and you go with a loving heart, you'll have an influence upon them. And even if you don't say anything, but you're just listening to them, they'll feel better. Sometimes it's not what you say, it's whether you're listening or not, which has an effect, a positive effect upon people. But you might find it helpful to get your own energy into a place of feeling love and gratitude using the 4 phrases. But anyway, it's, it's an idea, it's a process. Some people find it very powerful. There is nothing, if you don't want to use it, that's okay. If you do want to try it, that's good. No one's trying to make you do anything you don't want to. But a loving heart and listening ears can do a lot of lift up a lot of good energy and transformation.
Thank you.
Yes, I think, Ahmed.
Yeah, I don't have a question, but I totally agree with you, Tracy, that what you're saying, because manifestations of God have said, human beings are not just body, his physical body. There is more to us. That is spirit that God has given to us, and that is spirit is in communication with other spirits, and by controlling our anger and feelings, definitely can have an effect on the other person or other spirits. Yeah, I totally agree with you that these are very functional things to do.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Yes.
The world is more than what we see, this physical world. Even in, when scientists look at it, you see that there is more to it than this. The physical world is only 4% of what gravity shows. So there's other things that God has created, and we don't know yet what they entail. But because of having this spirit, this spirit is given by God to us, there's more. And then these words, for example, have positive effects. Like when Christ says, if they hit you on one face, give the other face, the other side. So that's an example of it.
Thank you.
Yes, that's right.
My understanding is that we are perfecting our inner self. by doing this, we are perfecting our inner self. So the more that we purify ourselves, more that we clean ourselves, we become calm, we become peaceful, we become happy, irrespective of what others do or say or think.
Mm.
So I wanted to ask, how long ago, I mean, this doctor was very recent one. How long did these people have this this process of Opono?
I think you have, thousands of years, a few thousand years. I mean, and in some of the other Pacific islands as well. Maybe that's one of the reasons why the Pacific Ocean is called Pacific, which means peaceful.
Right.
But
Yes.
One question comes to my mind is that the Pacific people kiss with the nose, and is that because of this sort of feelings that comes to them?
I don't know. Yes. But it's taking responsibility, is the freedom. It's so many people, something happened. I mean, you see the politicians all the time. It's not what happens, it's who gets the blame or who gets the credit, rather than who's taking responsibility and what's the best solution and how do we get there. If we could just cut through that sort of blame mind and irresponsibility mind of humanity, we would make incredible progress. But it's we can't, I suppose it's part of that thing of building up the energy and the community, and getting the politician being clear about what we want. We want a peaceful world. We want a world filled with love and gratitude. We want to organize our society where people are all valued and can be developing their talent and their ability and their relationships and families, and politicians can come along and help us to achieve that, rather than us giving responsibility over to politicians and them just taking that power. But we are the ones who are taking responsibility, that love and gratitude are the drivers of our lives and the family and societies you want to see. So it's also that idea of, we don't need to be ruled over. We need to rule ourselves.
These things that you say are spiritual values.
Yes.
And that the world is kind of gone backwards. The spiritual values have degraded because they lost the feel of spirituality, believing in a religion. So my feeling is that we need to go back towards a spiritual order. In order to get these things back, these spiritual qualities back.
And that's also the thing of choosing how we spend our time. If we want to bring spiritual values back, then instead of watching TV or doing other things, that we actually spend time in spiritual practices, reading holy scriptures, meditating, using these 4 phrases, chanting, all these type of things. But for some people, many people, actually saying these 4 phrases is a lot easier than meditating on other things, because you just have to keep going through. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. It's it's like using dishwashing liquid on your spirit, on your energy field. So if we want to bring the spiritual, we need to put time into doing practice ourselves, and so rather than going shopping, I choose to spend time on spiritual things. I'm not, that's where taking responsibility for what is, that we're not consumers, we're God's children, and we're citizens of different nations. So, how do we, taking the ownership back over our lives so that it's not external forces, but we ourselves are bringing back those spiritual values and emphasizing them by how we allocate our time each day. But anyway.
Dennis, do you want to say anything? Dennis, you had to unmute.
Well, I think the sense of interconnectedness it's just so fundamental. And I even like that very phrase you used about air, Tracy. Like when you think of the earth, the air, the whole reality that we're in, we're actually all held in the same reality. It's not as though there's one lot of air here and another lot over there, or water, or the sky, but the whole universe is kind of, it is really interconnected, isn't it? So I just think this is simple, but it is profound. Even when people often say, "Will you pray for me?" That's believing in something that's not tangible, if you like. It's not like going down the street and saying, "I buy a bag of apples." Like it's all these. It's another reality that we're in, I suppose, and I can get very bogged down with all the everyday things and managing and coping, and things that come in that I can't keep up. I can never keep up, whatever keeping up means. So I just think that practice of even being aware of every moment, what you were saying then, Tracy, about how we use our time, what we do with our time, the time that we have. I think, I've heard a long time ago, it was when I was living in Perth, so I'm talking about 20, 30 years back, but I think it was a teacher went to a school where the students were totally uncontrollable, like the behaviour was appalling. And he happened to have a little tape of Mozart's music and played it a lot. The whole place, it was a similar story to what you were telling us about this psychiatric hospital. The students' behaviour changed. So I think it just makes me think what I've been, what do you call it, aware. It's just lovely to hear you explain it, Tracy.
Thank you. Thank you, Denise. Tina, do you have anything to?
Yes, I can just add. I was thinking about this, the 4 verses, and I came up with this. We start with the love, that is love with the love of God. That is the very first thing that we should have. And then the humbleness. Yes, humbleness comes together with this. I'm sorry and forgive me. They come together. So love, humbleness, and gratitude. Even if we do not express it, we can show it with our actions. And we are so grateful. By being so grateful, we could offer our time, our efforts, our even smile to those who do not even smile. That's why they say, give a smile to someone who could not. So, similarly with prayer, prayer is not always expressed by words, but by actions. Even as someone said, by smiling, you are already offering a friendship. And it's like a prayer that let us be united. It's like you are praying that let's love one another. Even just for a smile, it means so many things. When you smile, you're already grateful. You already have that love. You already have that humbleness all together. Yeah. So there are many ways of expressing the 4 or 3 main things that has been mentioned. It's so wonderful to be reminded of these virtues. This is our bond, indissoluble bond that is uniting us, even among us here together itself. There is already that prayer of love and unity among us, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. Yeah. So Young.
I think with the children, we have to be really careful when we teach them about these 4 versions, because some children, they really angels. They only do good things. And if you start telling them to repeat all this on every day, go to the mentor, and then they say, forgive me. They said, well, I've been angelic. I've been doing all the good things, been helping parents, been helping my brother and sister, my neighbor, my school. I do wonderful work at the school, and we keep telling them every day you go to say like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. So they think that they will develop inferior complex mentally, and it's not going to be good. That's one thing. Your theory is good because Buddha will love it. Buddha will say, create good karma. People like we're not children. If we say we forgive me and sorry and all that, is create good karma, and Buddha love it. And so Jesus will love it too, because in his last statement, he asked his father, please forgive them because they don't know what they do. So that, it's all good karma, so there's no problem there with the people who understand and who have knowledge and experience and have done something in life. But with the children, we have to be extremely careful because we don't want them to develop inferior complex, and they feel guilty. They feel, why, I'm an angel, so why I keep telling me I have to forgive myself and forgive others. And is that all this world is so many criminal or many bad people that the word sorry and forgive got to be coming to it? So children, they're born as angels. The way we lead them to angelic path, in a bad path, is different. So we have to differentiate which children that we will teach them these 4 versions, and which children that we have to leave them out. 2 groups, black and white, the light and the dark forces. Some kids are really in the dark forces. Thank you.
That may be, yeah, that may be a challenge to identify with children. But I think this is probably those who have walked into the life, worldly life, and facing challenges in their life with a lot of worries and anxiety and anger and those kinds of people these days. But if someone is pure and cleaner than others, then they won't have any problem saying I'm sorry. But anyway, it is not. I don't think this is for the children. For us to understand, we as adults, we still have problem how to overcome these challenges. So for us, this is something that can help us. And if we find other friends or family members or whoever it is who also have similar challenges, then we can offer them. So it's not that the purpose of this one is for us individuals to try. If we have challenges, try this and see if it works. If it works, use it and share it. I wanted to ask Tracy, maybe, because you mentioned that you were having some sort of gathering where every month or so that some sort of prayers in the past.
Yeah, when the clinic that we had, it was a multidisciplinary clinic, but we had the meditation once a week, centering on the Ho'oponopono process. But the other thing is that, you know, the sort of the set point is loving gratitude, that we don't have prejudice to people, you know, that we have the mindset of no enemy, that we love and care, and gratitude is our modus operandi. So even, you know, for children, for them to learn to be having loving gratitude, that helps to steer through life. If you have an attitude of gratitude for everything, it's very strengthening, actually. It strengthens your spirit. So, and having a loving mind, I mean, honestly, during the referendum, having this process was very helpful to dealing with some of the conversations I had to have, and some of that door knocking, and some of read something in the media, you know, to clear my spirit down, and you know, that we're going through this process. And, you know, it was very helpful to be able to keep going. Believe me, I used it often. And with some people who sent me messages or emails, after I read it, I had to use the Ho'oponopono process. Often. To keep going, no enemies, and we love, you know, love will triumph, and blah, 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 you know. So it was part of my ability to cope and to keep going with a loving mind.
Yes.
To do something external coming from a place of values and love and kindness and goodness.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, I'm sure the indigenous people will have something similar to this. Probably this is the core of all the spiritual teachers. Their teaching, the core of their teaching is this. what's that? The first hidden word of Baha'u'llah. What is that? Oh, Son of Spirit, my first counsel is this: possess a pure, kindly, radiant heart. Pina, you want to complete?
Yes. That thine may be a sovereignty ancient, imperishable, and everlasting.
Yes. So when our heart is pure and kind and radiant, then we are not worried about what others are doing to us, or what others are saying to us. So in another hidden word, Baha'u'llah says, breathe not the sins of others, so long as thou thyself art a sinner. So that means don't look at the faults of others.
Mm.
We have shortcomings. That's why we say sorry. It doesn't matter. We are not referring, we don't have to refer to any particular individuals. I have shortcomings and I have to feel sorry.
And when you see two people in conflict, usually people think, well, I'm not too bad. But when we all, as adults, to acknowledge that I'm contributing something and I should deal with that.
Yeah.
Not be focused on what the other person is doing or not doing, which is so easy to see the fault of other people and be oblivious to our own. We've all got blind spots.
That's right.
Every single one. No exception. And life will teach us easily or hard. But if we participate more willingly by, having this type of approach, then we're more easily taught by God. But if you think, oh, I don't really need to learn that much, well, you're very hard to teach. And you probably have to learn a lot more than you realize. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know much. And the least you know, the more you think you know everything. So having that spiritual posture of humility and gratitude and loving kindness, well, we'll be more teachable, we'll be more approachable, life will be better for us and the people around us. And isn't that what life's about? It might be a little bit more joyful, a little bit more peaceful. That old saying, if you point one finger, you've got three fingers coming back at you, or the splint or the log. It's easier to see the splint in somebody else's eye than the log in your own. So this is that I'm dealing with my logs.
Yes.
And we'll get further, and we will actually, rather than spending all our energy blaming others and wasting our time, it's a waste of time. There's some disaster and everyone's fighting about who's to blame rather than fixing the problems. So it's to get that approach of loving kindness and, let's just make things better. But anyway, maybe we can have an early night tonight, Siva.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And if you don't have any other comments, I thank Tracy for its last minute arrangement for her to give a talk. And also Dennis, thank you for attending this meeting, and you are most welcome to attend and also give a talk on any topic that you are passionate about. That is conducive for unity in any of these forum. And please share your experience with the other members of the Women's Reconciliation Network. Yes.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you all. Bye-bye, and we'll see you
Bye.
next time.
Thank you, everyone. Love
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye-bye, Dennis. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.